Hi, good afternoon, all. How are we doing today?
Today, I'm okay.
Stressed, completely stressed at this point.
What? What's happening? Talk to me. Give me some feedback.
Recording, so I can't say nothing.
Okay, then. Don't be a witness. Don't give them no evidence. That's fine. But anyway, I've been doing my best. These classes have been very light. I not gone so south as I normally do, and I try to scale back all the information. So I'll do my best again this evening to see if we can get through it. Because essentially, we just don't want to give you a lot of data. We just don't want you to show up the class and just be here, but we want you to be able to participate, retain this information, and then apply it in your institutions. Okay, so that's the would be hope to accomplish here. So hopefully as I go through the lecture, you will unwind and you'll feel better and you'll be able to digest some of this. Okay, so yeah.
I appreciate that.
And I'm praying that you have better weeks to come, better weeks. And September is primarily slow. Are we having a busy September?
Very much so.
Very much so. Okay. I guess from the pandemic, everything is catching up now. So okay. Well, I pray it's manageable. Okay, so I sent out homework and very good. Persons completed it and sent it back. Were there any issues? Any information that I don't know what Mrs. Bullitt is asking, and I don't know how to answer this question. Did we have any of those experiences?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Let's see who's talking. Let's see. Go ahead.
We're in Freeport, so we just got the book today. So
Okay.
the homework, I was really trying to go off what I remember from my associate classes.
Okay. But you should have just told me, Jade, and I could have given you an extension, especially since your first class was last week,
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So
But I didn't
you
want to complain about it, but I still got it done.
Okay.
Miss Bullitt,
Yes.
this is the homework for which one is this now? This is the one we got last week, Tuesday, correct?
Yes.
I sent it in, but I didn't see a grade.
Okay.
I think I saw something for AML.
Yeah, so it was due last night. And so therefore, we would have collected all last night. So they will be marked and you will get it before next Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Super cool. Super cool.
Right.
I thought
I saw that you sent it in early, but yeah. There's a little system in place to ensure that we capture all the grades and everybody delivers. And it's probably just don't give out grades left, right, and center. Okay? So next week you'll receive your grade.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Cool. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Okay, so I would confirm that the silent gives consent that it was fine and nobody had issues and we understand the material, everything that we saw. And I'm not talking about the people who've been to one class last week and perhaps haven't had the opportunity to listen to the recordings, but all the questions we would have covered them and there were no surprises. Correct?
Oh, we have recordings we can listen to?
Yeah, so please contact Miguel. His cell number is in the welcome note as well as his email address. And so you just contact Miguel and he will direct you to where he stores these recordings.
Okay, cool.
Okay, and so that way you will catch up.
I have a few things on the homework too, but because I got my book late as well, but I figured something out. Okay,
well, let's just keep the communication lines open because, of course, we don't live in perfect. And of course, last week was your first class, and I really didn't, luckily, the other members of the class said, my internet was bad that first class anyway, so let's just do an overview. So hopefully that caught you up a bit, and hopefully that helped. And so otherwise you would have been completely lost. Because we would have been going over chapter 5. But nevertheless, we did that little review. And so today as well, I'm just going to capture the highlights from the chapters. And then we are going to go on chapters 5 and 8. So we could get through our projects, because again, the project is only worth 10%. However, if you do not complete the project, you get it incomplete. So please don't take it for granted that I don't need this 10%, I can get 100%. You know, some of us who are scholars think, oh, Miss Bullet Test is too easy. I get 100% on this Bullet Test, so I don't need to do this project, but you would get an incomplete for the class. So please, you know, participate in your group work. Okay, so persons would have sent me, and I have a few classes, and so I'm overwhelmed right now with all the emails I'm receiving back and forth. And then I think somebody sent me an email and said they needed to speak to another person in their group. So I just want to ensure that everybody is placed in a group, and they are everybody knows what their group has decided to pick as a topic, and I want to ensure that I have the correct information. Okay, so I have 10 persons on, but I have you know, 4 groups of 3, so that's 12. And hopefully, yeah, I think Renita and somebody else said they would be a little bit late. Okay, but
I'm here, but I'm listening. I'm about to leave work, so I'm gonna be
okay,
back. Yeah.
good. Okay, so I just want to confirm. Yeah, it was the NARA's group then that needed to get back to me. So that's the Nara, Omara, and Praneeth.
Yes.
That's
Good evening,
correct?
Miss. Yes, ma'am. I sent you an email last week.
Okay, so just confirm your banks for me, please.
Oh, we decided we're doing gaming,
Oh, okay.
and the 3 houses were Island Lock,
Mhm.
Ashore Wind, and Chances.
Okay. Yeah, and chances. Okay. Okay, great. So that'll be group 1. Group 2, I have Dorset, Dania, and Tanisha. And I have insurance companies, BAF Financial, Insurance Management, and Camino.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
That's correct. Okay. And then group 3, I have Denise, Kendrick, and Renita. And I have banks. I have RBC, Commonwealth, and CIBC, or First Caribbean.
That is correct.
Okay, so then I have Patrick, Jade, and Shanicia. And so that's where I was confused. So is it your group with Bank of the Bahamas?
No, ma'am, we did credit unions.
Oh, okay. And give me the names.
Grand Bahama Cooperative, Teachers and Salaried Workers, and the National Workers.
And national workers. Okay. Okay. Very good. All right. So we have everybody, and everybody knows what they are going to do. Next week, Tuesday, right after the holiday, our surveys are due. I know for sure one person has sent me their survey, so, or one group has sent me their survey. So just so you know, I know most of you this would only be your second class. And so I did show a visual last week of past surveys and what they look like to give you an idea. So just let me know if you need any assistance. But the survey, all 4 groups, is expected to be submitted next week. And I think, do we have that on this sheet? No, we have that on there's it. I can't find it right now. I want y'all looking in my drive. Okay, yeah. So, but everybody knows the survey, and y'all have that scheduled to be submitted next week. Correct? Next week, I guess Monday at 11:59 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
You're on schedule for that. Okay, great.
Is that the 11th, Miss Bullet?
Sorry?
Is that the 11th?
Yes, but that's a holiday, and I feel so bad.
Yes.
I feel so bad for sending it on a holiday. That's awful. Y'all send it on Tuesday morning. Y'all send it, but y'all send it before the holiday or after. Just send it. Yes.
Do you mean just to submit what the survey looks like?
No, 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 not that it's completed. I've had in the past a lot of groups that, they come to the end and say, well, we never got the survey, we didn't get the analysis and blah, blah, blah. So I just asked for the survey to be submitted by a certain time frame, and that way the persons who are gonna listen in when you do your presentation based on what was asked, they will know, because a lot of us is we don't have time to do Miss Bully projects, so we just go wing it, right? We can stand up and we can present and we can talk good. So we've had a lot of that in the past, and so this is why they asked for the survey up front, and then they also asked that the whole entire project is submitted the week before, the Sunday before, so we'll have time to peruse it and know what to expect. Because we've had persons say, they show up on the day and say, well, Kendrick dog died and Denisha got married and Renita didn't do what she was supposed to do, so just to avoid all of those,
Okay.
the dog ate it and stuff,
Just for clarification, the one I sent you, I think I sent in the one for our group or example.
So you want me to use that as your submission?
Say again?
So you want me to, what you sent me to complete as a RBC?
Well, I said that to use an RBC client,
Right.
but in your professional opinion, is that acceptable?
I have to look. You mean in terms of the survey? I'll answer it and send you back some feedback then.
Okay then.
Right. Okay.
And the project the presentation is done on the 23rd of November.
Let's look. So now that we have 4 groups, sometimes one group talk about an entire class, but we'll see how it goes. So perhaps you'll get 2 or 3 in there. So I've assigned you group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. So we're looking right now that Denara and Daniel group, Denara's group, Daniel's group 1 and group 2 will go on the 23rd, and Denise and Jade's group 3 and group 4 will go on the 30th.
Okay, 30th. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
But everybody still has to submit it on the 21st.
21st.
So there are no changes, because that was another thing. This was unbelievable. So these they submitted their project on the 21st, and then persons presented on the 23rd, and then they asked to make changes. And he said, no, you can't make changes. And what is this? And so what they sent us, they still presented with the changes. And so that caused an entire conflict, because we had 3 persons who were sitting in the meeting watching, and then we had 1 person to watch the recording, and that caused a big hiccup. So please, you cannot make any changes after after group presents. Okay, so any change and you go with what you said on the 21st. The next group may do something that you didn't think of. I'm sorry, you can't just add it and pretend that you had it in your project already. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Ms.
So
Bullock, could you
on the
please
21st.
clarify the survey, please? The survey, is it supposed to be just our questions or the completed survey that we're supposed to present next week?
Just the sample of the survey,
Okay,
not the statistics. You put the statistics in your project, or the answers to the survey in your project.
okay,
Okay?
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, good. Okay, so anybody getting their 5% today? And I am just bringing it up. If it's not, then it's fine. I just want us to know where we're at in terms of the schedule. Let me just minimize this. Okay, we are on week 4, and we're gonna cover chapter 8, 5 and 8 today, and then next week we will do chapter 9 and also have a review. So I will send a small review sheet for you to work with, just to give you some tips on what the midterm. So week 6 is our midterm exam week. Okay, and that means we're halfway through the program. And week 7 will take us into the remainder of the program and into December for the final exam. So just so you are aware, hold on 1 second for me, please. 1 second.
Girl, every time I talk to my friend, I hear, oh, this man need to give me money, this man needs to do this, this man needs to do that. Like, I hope I don't be like a scotch record like that with y'all. Like, I feel like every time I come, like we used to be talking about something within that topic.
Oh God.
Like, I don't feel like I just was randomly being around. Now you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Are you speaking to somebody else or in the class? Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Ms. Bullard.
Yeah, was that somebody's mic that wasn't muted, or that was a question to the class?
Oh, no. My mic just wasn't muted.
Oh, okay.
Pardon me.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, yeah, so sorry about that. I had to step
Excuse me,
away
Ms.
from one.
Bullard.
Yes?
Will this be a take-home midterm, or will we have to go into the
Thank you.
office?
Thank you, Kendrick. Thank you
What
for
a
that.
return.
Thank you. Sure, take home, open book, what else? I give you the answers even. No, unfortunately, it's not a take home. Let's see, it's 12%, so it should be okay. With the spacing, the institute does have 8 classes, so this will be an in-person midterm exam. And so I'll speak to the institute this coming week just to make sure there hasn't been any changes. But you only go with your mask and your car keys, no books, no bags, no anything. You just show up and you sit the exam in person. Okay, and that'll be on Thursday, October the 19th. So there will, Miguel, sometimes they sends the link anyway, but you don't have to sign into anything. You go in person and they will expect you and give you your midterm exam.
That's Thursday or Tuesday, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's Thursday, it's Tuesday. That's a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, the 19th, yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
You said this week we're doing chapters 5 and 8?
Yes.
Oh, so we are not going according to the schedule because the 5th have chapter 9.
Right, but remember last week, we had some new persons, and then
Okay.
I think it was Kendrick who said that, the video, the recording wasn't very good, and so he asked for an overview, and I said that I saw it fitting because we did have 4 new persons as well, and so that threw us back. But we will still cover chapter 9 and next week, and this is why I schedule it this way, so we can have some extra time, because sometimes you do fall behind.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So next week we will do chapter 9 and then review. Okay, and I'll send out a little sheet. And if you have any questions, I'll send out a little review sheet and I'll assign each person to answer a topic, and we'll go from there. Okay, and then again, all of this is to help to see where you're at, to see where we need to what we need to focus on, and to help you be successful in the end. Okay, that's good. Yeah, no, maybe so. Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
good. So anybody getting their 5%? No? Okay.
Just the
Well,
5%
Ms. Bullard,
specific.
Ms. Bullard, I had to come to class this afternoon.
Wait, one at a time. Okay.
5%.
1 second. Hold on. Go ahead. Who was it? Go ahead, Kendra.
Yes, ma'am. With that other situation, I would have been in that meeting this afternoon, but I came to class.
Okay.
Shanique's session today. It's going on right now, actually.
Right. So it's again just for awareness. I'm following up to, we're almost halfway there. And so of course, you'll have the opportunity next week, but not the exam week. So when we are in the second half of the class, don't let the time run up on you. And, so I understand, but somebody did give you an invite for another day, Kendra?
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that one for AML. That's on Thursday for Rotary.
Okay.
Digital assets.
Okay, good. And if you want to share and invite anybody else, so persons, like I said, if you may be a little bit timid, you may not want to introduce yourself. The whole point of it is networking. And so get together in a group. I don't know if you created a WhatsApp group for this class, but get together in a group and share the experience, and it may be less intimidating for those of you who are a bit shy. Okay, just a suggestion. Okay. Okay, so somebody else was speaking.
No, I just was clarifying just the 5% for the civic organization, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we got to the homework, and basically the homework was the slides, and I guess a bit of chapter 1 and chapter 2. I just went over my notes again, and I wanted to just touch on in case we didn't cover it, and some of these things may show up in the final. I mean, sorry, in the midterm, just so you are aware. So the book talks about, and this is back in chapter 1, talks about other financial institutions and primarily retailers. And in America, you have a lot of the retail stores like the Macy's. The Macy's has a debit card. Who is it? JCPenney has a card. Victoria's Secret has a card. And Miss Bullet got into a lot of trouble. I went to college in Atlanta, and my father had given me access to his credit card, in case of emergencies. And I found out that I could just walk in Macy's and say, hey, I already have a credit card. Give me a Macy's card. Give me a JCPenney card. So over the 4 years I lived in Atlanta, when it was time to come home, Ms. Bullet had 11 debit cards from all these institutions. And from my graduation present, and my father, I was thinking, I go on and graduate from college, I could get a car. And when my father found out that I had all those cards, he nearly killed me, and he paid them off. And so Miss Bullet going through college, do all of that, and he get no gift, because all the money had to go to these creditors. Okay, so be very careful with those cards. That's my story. In the Bahamas, Doctors Hospital has a card. I don't know, are we familiar with any other institution other than Doctors Hospital?
Doctors Hospital has a card?
Yeah, and they even have like a program, not like a rewards type program, like where you pay each month and you you gain points or something like that, or you it's almost like an insurance type thing, that in the event of illness that you already covered, like you paid ahead. Yeah, so this Doctor's Hospital card, you apply for it, and I think up to like $1,000 is a minimum, or something to that effect. So in the event of an emergency, you go there, and they, once you have that card, they see you, and I guess then they charge the rest of the card. I'm not certain how it works. Years ago, Royal Bank was offering, I think it was a SO gas card. I know, anybody remember that, or no? 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 Any
Royalists actually do good things for their clients?
Yeah, this was years ago, but it didn't, the program didn't last very, I wasn't very popular, and so it didn't really last. Today, under other financial institutions, we also have like law firms, real estate, and accountants. And again, I think I mentioned this, and this is not the law firm that does criminal law, or the people who commit the murders and armed robberies every day. But these are the ones that have a financial service license or a corporate service provider's license. So outside of their legal license, then they have this other licensing that's regulated through the Securities Commission. So some accountants have it like the Deloitte and KPMG, and then the bigger real estates, and then of course like the Higgs and Johnsons and what have you. You would find that they all have that and are considered other financial institutions. They're called, excuse me, for AML purposes, they're called non-designated financial institutions or non-financial designated institutions. Yeah. Okay, so just so you are aware. I had asked persons if they were familiar with the Clearing Bank Association and who they are. I had also said to go and do some review on ACH. Did anybody get the opportunity to do that?
You mean the automated clearinghouse?
Yeah, so Bahamas Automated Clearinghouse. Do we know who that is?
Yeah, that's they're responsible
There you
for
go.
clearing banks, the checks.
Yeah, so just read the slide. Read the slide first.
I drive in, Miss Bullet.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Okay.
And they also do like the online transactions, like from payments between banks to banks, files with salaries, like for like the government pays through Royal Bank, so they will send the files. They will go through the ACH to the different banks, and then checks as they are cleared, they're scanned, and they go through the ACH as well.
Okay, so remember when we talked about it, the purpose of this was to, I mean, not really purpose, but they wanted an automated system, but they, or it also helps with kiting, and do we all remember what kiting is? And if we see kiting on the exam, we know how to explain it?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
stealing from Peter to pay Paul.
You got it.
Yeah.
I mean,
basically writing checks, and back in the day, it used to take 2 weeks because it was a manual process. And now it's automated. It takes 3 days. So you don't have that window to write the check and wait for payday, or write the check and borrow the money to try and put the money back on the account. Okay? So this is you can just go online and Google and get some information about back, because it's normally that's a short answer question on the exam. Okay, so it tells you a network of 7 clearing banks and the central bank to facilitate the clearing and settlement of electronic debits, credits, and checks. Okay, and so normally in the papers you will see the Clearing Banks Association. Of course, we're having, what is it, National Heroes Day next week. So you will see that they will list their operating hours, saying that they are closed on the holiday, which is Monday, and they put out notices. So during the pandemic, we've seen more detailed notices from them. This one was just on fraud awareness and some tips on what to look for with the phishing emails and delete messages and practices. Okay, so that's the Clearing Banks Association, which is of course Royal Bank, Scotia, First Caribbean, Bank of the Bahamas, Commonwealth, Fidelity, right? Okay, all of the local banks.
Ms. Bullet?
Yes.
Believe it or not, I used to be going to Central Bank as a representative for Bank of the Bahamas to actually do that manually.
Okay. So you welcome this 100% this change.
Of course, it's necessary, man.
Okay. Yeah, and tell us how it used to be.
Each individual bank, but back then they had Barclays as well as CIBC, Commonwealth Bank, Bank of the Bahamas, Royal, Scotia, and whoever presented a check, let's just say, well, Colebrook, Fidelity would be there. Fidelity would bring all of my checks, who would be, let's say, for instance, Scotia Bank. If I represented Scotia Bank, she would bring all the checks that she had from my bank. I would dispense all of the various different checks to the other branches, to the other banks, and everybody would tally up their sheet. The interesting part is that all of that information would be being dispensed to the representative at central bank. But the creative part is that when we didn't balance, it means then that somebody's figures were off somewhere.
And is it true that you all spent like an entire day there looking for
You
those
have to find
differences?
it. You have to find it. Unfortunate for me, every time I went, there was not a drawn out process in regards that we couldn't find out where the shortfall was. I think it was probably maybe 45 minutes one time where we couldn't find out, and then we realized that one number was transposed, and there we found the error. But it could be a tedious effort, but now they are automated. I suspect things are more better now.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good.
You wouldn't have wanted to be on the end in the proof department who actually had to balance that work. Because I used to work in the proof department, and now everything is just scanned. And once the encoding on the check is correct, that's it. Only if there's an issue with the encoding where the scanner cannot read it, you have to make the correction. But back then, we had to process all the checks manually. And it was split out into the different, and then we had to balance all the banks and make sure that it balanced against our local checks, our customers' checks, as well as sundry items. So that part there, Kendrick, was like a walk in the park. The Scotia Bank, Scotia, Royal, and First Caribbean are big boys when it comes to the volume of checks. So imagine having to process those. So it is much easier now. I could attest to that.
Okay, good that we have some witnesses, some persons who actually carried out that process and see the benefits of the new automated system. Okay, so then we moved on to, I guess, what chapter is this? 3, and we talked about the depth of creditor relationship, the principal agent relationship, and the bailer and bailee relationship. So you want to just, sorry? No, you just want to ensure that you're familiar with the roles and who does what. Then we talked about the duty of secrecy and the duty of confidentiality that we owe to our clients. And so the Bankers and Trust Act is just been recently updated 2020. Prior to 2020, it was Section 19. And I had mentioned in our institutions on our account opening documents, we have Bankers and Trust Act Section 19. In fact, I looked at somebody form the other day and it said Bankers and Trust Act of 1960 something, and I almost passed out. I said, really? This is what you're sending out to your customers? So what it has taught us is when we update these terms and conditions or these forms, we don't need to put the section, because it used to be one section 10 in 1960 something, then it changed to section 19 for many years, and now it's section 77. Okay, so just look at your terms and conditions or your account opening package and see what version, and if you indeed have the number that is no longer, you'd want to change it. But we have that duty of confidentiality, and I did tell the story of a very good friend who decided to tell her best friend what was on her boyfriend's account. And so the best friend got the information from, I won't call the bank's name, system, printed it out and gave it to her friend. And of course, when round they come, and she said, let's say I need $500, and the boyfriend said, I don't have it. And she said, see the printout? Oh.
Wow.
And so the boyfriend reported, the friend to the manager and the head office, and subsequently the person got fired. Okay. Excuse me. So we want to ensure that we don't get caught in those situations. There should also be a privacy officer within your institution that everybody should, know who that person is, and that privacy officer would do the various balance checks, clear desk policy, ensure that the cabinets are locked, ensure that nothing is left on the printer. And again, we talked about the Securities Commission being defrauded by the car wash guy. And I think I told that story last week where I said, we only know him as Yadi. We give him our car keys with our house keys on it, and he has access to everything from the bank that we took home, that we show all the files that we could lift that box upstairs. We wait until the messenger come to lift that box upstairs for us with all the private information, but the man cleaning your car the same time and have access to all of that. Okay, so remember that duty of confidentiality. Then another thing I want you to look for in your account opening packages is express consent. A lot of times we have a parent in another country, or we have an a service level agreement, and we are sharing information. This is the company that processes our wires, or this is the company, this is our parent company and they need this information. Or compliance has stopped a transaction and so we need to share the information. And so on our account opening form, there should be express consent, a term and condition that you are asking at account opening the client's permission to share this information. So therefore, when compliance does, stop a transaction, you're not going out to the client and perhaps tipping them off and saying, compliance has stopped the transaction, you need to send them this information, give us your approval, all right? So at the beginning of the relationship, you get these things, and in the onset. And so therefore, you don't run into that tipping off issue, okay? Anybody familiar with the express consent clause in their terms and conditions? Have we ever heard of it? Do we know what it is? You're still there, or am I talking to myself?
We're still there.
We still, yeah, you want to go into that a little bit? I've never, where I'm not in front line.
Okay, so all of us have an account opening package, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, and so in those terms and conditions, there are clauses and persons sign and they agree to the terms and conditions of the institution, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Have we ever read the fine print? No?
No.
If okay, so if the parent comes to you, asks for information, how do you know that you can share it? What gives you the authority to share Ms. Bullett's ID? Because Canada asks for it.
The signature, your signature, if you sign it.
Yeah, but there are a lot of account opening packages that are very old. And they don't even have this in their terms and conditions. And so you would see when compliance does stop a transaction or the parent does ask for a copy, we are reaching out to the client and saying, please give us permission to share this. Because compliance stopped your transaction. Isn't that what happens sometimes?
Yeah, it does.
Isn't that a form of tipping off?
Yep.
Okay, so you need, that's why I'm saying review your terms and conditions. I just ask, where do we express consent in our documentation? Are we getting that up front? This bullet ever go off? Not updates.
Get some water, ma'am.
Yeah, I sent for some. I think it's the air conditioning, so I'll turn it off 1 second. Okay, no more interruptions. Hopefully, I turned off the air, so that should be okay. That should be okay. Okay, so express consent, and then we talked about the ombudsman. We know who the ombudsman is. we know that the central bank is now trying to establish the office of the ombudsman, where persons make complaints if they're not satisfied with any service or any remedy that the bank had offered if they didn't get good service. And so even though the office is not established, bigger banks like Royal Bank and Scotia, they have their own internal office of the ombudsman, who will ensure that, there's fairness in, or both sides are heard, and customers ultimately satisfied, whether it's through an apology or through, they normally ask, what would you like the outcome of this to be? And so that, the ombudsman acts as like a mediator. Okay, and so even though central bank has not established the offices yet, you can still, people when they make report from banks and they're not satisfied with the outcome, they automatically send it to their regulator. And one of the checks and balances is, a complaints report. The compliance department that normally holds the complaints report, and regulator normally checks it to make sure the complaints were satisfied. Okay. Let me turn to page 37. Any questions so far? Are you finding this overview beneficial or not really?
Yeah, that's good.
It's beneficial.
Okay, good. So they are the highlights. You should have seen some of those questions in your homework, and definitely you'll probably see these types of questions on the midterm exam. Okay, so we are ahead in terms of the review because we already know what to look out for. And so when I schedule each of you, it should be clear as mud what needs to happen. Okay, so on to chapter 4. Chapter 4 talks about account opening and closing of customers. Of course, years ago, like I said, this book is very outdated and very old. However, we all know that in 2000, the Bahamas updated that its anti-money laundering laws, and we are required to know our customers. And so there is a full account opening package, and I don't know where, the number of pages on the retail side, but when I was at Royal Bank Wealth, our account opening package was 42 pages that had to be signed with different terms and conditions and acceptances. This information is a statutory requirement. It's called identification. Once you would have gotten identification documents like passport, proof of address, proof of residency, and it's been corroborated and stored, and you approve for the account to be open, then that information also has to be monitored. Transaction also has to be monitored. Customers also provide a profile that should be tracked. And most recently, we have had those cases where, back in the day, we used to only check for signatures that match. And once a signature match and is put on that account, go ahead and send that transaction. However, we have found that, some businesses have been requesting unscrupulous payments, and, it's outside of the profile. So now we need to ensure when we open these accounts, it's within the profile of the account. So if you're a business that is dealing in investments on behalf of clients, we need to ensure that no personal items come out that investment account. Okay. There are various types of accounts. Of course, the most popular are savings and checking accounts. There are, you call it a checking account or the current account, a deposit account, there are savings accounts. There are sole accounts with one person, there are joint accounts, and there are minor accounts. And with everybody should have an overview. I mean, all of us work in the financial services sector. Is this clear? Do I need to go in detail on what a sole account is, a joint account, and a minor account, or are we familiar?
I'm familiar.
No. Okay, so for the most part, we are familiar. We've seen this before. Okay. One of the issues surrounding joint accounts, and I don't want to call a company again, but a few years ago, let me just start from the history. Many customers have come into the bank querying joint accounts, and it's especially when somebody has passed away. So persons get sick, they are incapacitated, or they are very old, or they just want somebody else on their account, so they add a second person for the purpose of, I need you to pay my bills, I need you to get me back and forth to the doctor, or what have you. Not necessarily that I want to will this money to you. And the company where I was at, which most of you should know, had a lot of problems with persons coming in and saying, oh, well, I'm, this account is joint with right of survivorship. So in the past, we used to have, you can add somebody to your account and it could be either or you can add somebody to the account and it could be joint with right of survivorship. And there used to be a box that you tick and you had that option. However, because there were so many court cases and so many problems with persons dying on the account, and even whether it was joint or if it was not joint, the person could just go stick the ATM card and then withdraw $1,000 a day, tell the account was empty, right? And then you would find family members who were grieving. They would come a month later and say, okay, we buried our loved one. Now we want to deal with their finances, and find that all the money was gone, right? So to curb this problem, some of the Canadian banks put in they changed their internal policy that says you can no longer just add that person to the account. When you now add that account, that is joint with right of survivorship, and you don't have a choice. Anybody at a Canadian bank could confirm that for me? Ms. Bullitt saying the truth? Anybody out there? This discussion based. Sorry?
Can you repeat it for me?
Accounts are no, you don't have the option. If two persons are on the account, you either have a sole account where one person is there, or if you have two persons on the account, it is automatically joint with right of survivorship, meaning the second person is entitled to the funds on the account if you pass away. So if you go and will that to somebody else, and that person on the account does not want to give that money to the people, they have the right to take it. So say it's Kendrick's mother or father, God forbid, and it's 9 of them. And Kendrick is just on the account to pay the bills, to make sure mommy gets her food and her medicines and everything on time. Now, if mommy, God forbid, should pass away, the money is to be split in 9. But Kendrick says, no. I'm on the account, that money is for me. I don't have to split it into 9. So that's what we have seen happening over the years. And because we had so many of instances of that, and the bank did not really want to get involved in litigation and back and forth to court, the bank changed its policy to joint with right of survivorship, where there's a second person on it. And so if you don't want that person to get your money, then I guess, I don't know if you give them a power of attorney or some other avenue, but you could not open up a joint account. And in fact, to another control they put in place is you could have had your account for 20 years alone. Back in the day, we would just say, I said, my son is 18 now, I want to add him to the account. They are closing out that account and establishing a new account just so they could have a record of where his rights started.
Yeah.
Anybody?
You don't do it exactly like that.
Okay.
Once you have an account, well, I mean, in regards to the last part, once you have an account, regardless of how long you've had it, we would allow you to add somebody onto it. We wouldn't really
close it out.
We wouldn't close it out. No, the only time we would close out the account, like say just so that with the example you use, if Kendrick and myself have a joint account and I die, we would then have to close out the joint account because, of course, I'm already deceased. So Kendrick would have to open up an account by himself, but he would have the right to whatever funds are on the account.
Okay, so let me just say that I've been following a court case that's been going on for 10 years. And the outcome was that the Canadian bank does not have the right to do that because that is Canadian law and not Bahamian law. So they can't change their internal, I mean, they've changed their internal policy. But if should Kendrick's brothers and sisters take him to court and say, Mommy left this money for all 9 of us, then the bank would be liable. And that person, if that person did not pay back that money, the bank would be liable because that is Canadian law and not Bahamian law. Okay, that was just the outcome of that case. And of course, we are a common law jurisdiction. That means if that's the outcome of that case and 10 other cases come before, they would refer to that case. You know, they say in the case of Kendrick and his 9 brothers and sisters, you know, it was found that, you know, so just so you would be aware. But like I said, many banks have taken on that. We don't want to get in the back and forth with families. And so, yeah, that's what they did to make their lives easier. However, it's not Bahamian law, and it's a lot of people have been fighting it in court. Okay. And of course, the procedures vary across different companies. For the most part, all the banks, you know, you follow what your regulators guidelines say. And no matter who your regulator is, once you're in the financial services sector, you are to abide by the statutory requirements. And they, like I said, there are 5. Where you must identify, and then after identification, you must monitor. You must have an MLRO on staff. You must keep records, and staff must be trained. Okay, and so many that those statutory requirements, and it lists exactly how do you, like I say, what do you get? You get passport, proof of address. You verify residency, you find out, you know, the type of business, you know, and the countries that they do business in, and nationality, and what have you. And then there can be a partnership account, there can be company accounts. Again, with company accounts, of course, the law outlines again what is required, and it's memo and articles of association, list of directors, shareholders registry. You must have a natural person. So that means what again, an experience from what we had back in the day. A lot of our companies registers just said Bullet and Co. We didn't know who Bullet and Co. represented. It could be Bullet and Bin Laden. Of course, that would be a blocked person, or it could be Bullet and Perry Christie, and he is a PAP, and so you would want it documented. And so this is why the law calls for a natural person or an ultimate beneficial owner. So at the end of, you know, I guess, the organizational chart of the company, you must know who the beneficial owners are. Okay. Then it goes on to talk about closing accounts. Again, we talked about opening the accounts, now closing the accounts. And so a report that we followed with opening accounts is our key risk indicators. And what we did with that is to ensure that we are aware of the number of accounts that are being closed and where the money was going. And so, of course, that was our revenue or our money walking out of the bank. And so various fees we would no longer collect from that client. So it's important to track, you know, a lot of people say we keep a closed list and we want to know each month what accounts are closed, yeah, because they're losing business and we need to know why. And then sometimes the persons or the account officers who are closing those accounts are not getting relevant information from the client to say, what is the purpose of, why are you closing the account? Is it because we don't offer a product or service? Is it because of bad customer service? Is it because of convenience? And let us know. And so that information is very important so that you would, track any deficiencies within your institution that perhaps there may be just a fix. Something may have occurred and that person may just want an apology. So it's good to speak to the client and find out exactly how or what is required or what they need in order to not close that account. And account officers need to work, like I said, and keep information on exactly who took this money from us, right? And so if you were to keep a close list and find out exactly where this money went, you would be able to say, hey, what's going on at Scotia? Scotia just took 10 of our clients. Are we doing something that, we shouldn't be doing? Okay, so you want to ensure that you get that relevant data. A lot of times persons are not concerned with it and think it's these people go and let them go and that's it. We don't want to ask them any questions, just let them go. No, but that's business and you don't know who they are tied to, and so hopefully you have that information. You never know. It may be just an individual, and then you find out he's tied to 5 companies, and then you see the 5 companies walking out the door as well. Okay, and so definitely you want to do some I guess due diligence and find out and call that person on the phone and see if there's anything that you could do to keep that business so it's not closed and you lose more than one individual or company. And again, in the general terms and conditions, there should be a right of offset. That means should Miss Bullet try and write a check and go and get caught in that 3-day trend, because I get paid on the 3rd day. And then the electricity shut off and my office couldn't send the payment through. And so now my account is overdrawn, right? But I have a $50,000 account. When I sign on with my mommy, there's a condition in the terms and conditions that says right of offset. If one account is overdrawn and money is on the other account, then you can transfer the money to cover the overdraft, especially if there was no overdraft allowed or approved for you. I've seen companies even say, yeah, you have a mortgage, you won't pay this for 3 months, we're gonna slap it to your mortgage. Our right of offset allows us to do this. The only time I've seen this not happen is they've created an account called and this is in the offshore world, a segregated accounts. It's called a SAC, and in SACs they use a company's name, and then they open up 10 individual accounts underneath it. So how it would work, we would be say Bullet and Co. And under Bullet and Co., Bernice Bean, Daniel Road, Nara Strawn, they have their own separate account. And it's that way. So there's no right of offset. So they can't debit Bullet and Co. if Bernice goes overdrawn, or if the Nara goes overdrawn, or if Daniel goes overdrawn. And they've created that vehicle, so there's no liability between the accounts. Another thing that I saw is that, let's just say Bernice got STRs against her and reputational risk and what have you. And so we would just take Bernice out of the SAC rather than say the whole entire, Daenerys also has reputational risk or, Danya. So that's, the liability does not pass on. And that's the only instance where I have not seen right of offset. Are we familiar again? So I'm asking you, express consent, right of offset. Are we familiar with these in our terms and conditions?
I think I've heard of the right of offset. That's with, like you were saying, with the overdraft facility.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
It also applies in the collection aspects that if a particular account has not been segregated, meaning it is being explicitly, I think we covered this in banking law, Cobra.
Yeah.
Particular account, if it's not segregated to the point where you say it cannot be used to facilitate payment, then everything gets swiped. But that's
Yeah.
yeah. So it has to be indicated that that particular account has been segregated for something else and cannot be used to make any payments in any way, shape, or form to any other account.
Yeah, that's for the credit card. I remember that.
Okay. Okay, so just an overview of account opening, account closing, the types of accounts. Any questions on chapter 4? And we, of course, in our institutions, we get AML training each year. So we should be quite familiar by now with the account opening process, and you know, all of it had changed in 2000 after the anti-money laundering framework was put in place. So before, we used to just probably have a one-pager where we walked into the bank and said, my name is Ms. Bullard and I'd like to open up a savings account. And we gave the ID, or we said we could bring it back and the account was still open, okay? However, gone are those days. Now there's a, like I say, not like wealth management with the 42 pages, but there are a lot of deliverables. You need your passport, all those different things. They are checked, they are vetted and verified before this account is open. And then they have gone so far into generating a profile. What is the purpose of this account? How often are you going to be depositing? What amount are you going to be depositing? And now I see they want the job letters. So they want your job letter to ensure that where you're getting this source of fund. If it's not from your job, what are your investments? And so no longer is it word of mouth, but you have to have documentation on file to, you know, confirm where and how you would service the account.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So on
I
to
think
chapter.
that's referred to as the activity undertaken, right?
Yes.
What you were, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that activity undertaken is generating that profile. This account is just for school fees, and I am going to pay the school fees every quarter, and this is the amount of the school fee. So when you start sending $100,000 to that account, then we got to start to ask you questions, right? And if we get hits in the background to tell us you outside your profile, hopefully we have some savvy systems that spit out some reports and tell us that you're going outside of the profile of the account. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so chapter 5, and we're gonna do some reading because I believe you're asleep. I want you to ensure that y'all are engaged, and a lot of good information that will help you with your project on chapters 5 and 8. And again, that's why we missed some chapters to ensure that it was not towards the end of the course after the project was due or close to the due date that we shared these chapters, and it's like, oh my God, this is what I needed to do, you know, so we put them up closer to ensure that everybody understood and they could write knowledgeably in their projects, okay? All right, so chapter 5 talks about marketing and competition and other considerations, and the book says, despite changes and developments in banking services, many people still do not have personal bank accounts. Is that true in the Bahamas?
And again, I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so there is accordingly an untapped market of potential customers which the clearing banks are trying to exploit. Okay, why do so many people remain unbanked? We will see the attitudes play an important part. Okay, so let's answer that question. Why do people remain unbanked?
You don't trust banks. Fees are too high.
Okay, so think about it. Our minimum wage is $210, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Let me don't use, okay, the Canadian banks charge you $1, right, to withdraw. However, let's just say your account is at Royal Bank. Super Value has Commonwealth Bank ATMs in Super Value. So if you need money right away, you go into Commonwealth Bank. So that's like $6, to withdraw. So you're already only making $210, and you could expect at least $20 out of that $210 to go towards fees, right?
NIB.
So, and there you go, NIB. So you're going home with what, $180. Okay, so why keep my money in the bank having to pay all these fees? Facebook is unregulated, and so they remained unbanked for a very long time. PayPal and those online e-commerce platforms had also remained unbanked for a very long time. They are banked now because they are regulated, but for a very long time, until Amazon blew up and they saw that they needed to do something. They remained unbanked. And they were unbanked like Facebook because they were not regulated. In the Bahamas, closer to home, the gaming houses are partially or 80% unbanked. I think only Bank of the Bahamas take their cash as it stands. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't think
I
they
think so.
charge. They don't have a fee.
When you say they don't, who doesn't have a fee? You say
Bank of the Bahamas, I think the cash is as it stands.
right. So you can't go to a Scotia Bank like before the laws had changed. We had the various gaming houses accounts. The Canadian banks have the various accounts. However, after the law changed, nobody wanted their business to be seen as high risk. And one of the conditions of high risk is that you're cash intensive. And so, of course, we know the gaming houses are very cash intensive. So the Canadian bank simply said, no, we're not going to do business with you. Only Bank of the Bahamas, I don't know if Commonwealth Bank is taking on their deposits now, but can you imagine a deposit insurance is only $50,000? And Bank of the Bahamas was very shaky for a very long time. And so would you really want all of your money? They reported that they made $550 million. Do you really want all of $550 million in Bank of the Bahamas when you don't know what was going to happen, especially when they created that resolve committee where they had so many delinquencies? Are we familiar with all of that? Do we understand all of that?
No,
That was
what's that?
That was up to 200 million, right?
Yeah, it was a very, I don't want to quote the exact amount, but yeah, around that canvas. Yeah, so very high delinquencies, that means the bank could default at any time. And we can't take it lightly because we saw Greece default, their bank defaulted. And what that meant is that your salary was going there, you had to pay a mortgage, you had to feed your children, you needed gas for your car, and persons had to line up for like 3 hours to get to an ATM, and they were only allowed to withdraw $60 a day. Okay, so we have seen it happen in Greece, and so it could, it can happen. So we can't say that they wouldn't have defaulted, So with that being, sorry,
Gulf Union Bank.
Okay, Gulf Union Bank defaulted and persons lost their money.
40 cents on the dollar they got back.
Okay, so that was a big loss. So again, these gaming houses are taking a big risk with having, that's the only bank that'll take their money. What do they do? Well, of course, they were very smart. They bought old banks, right? Dilapidated buildings, and they got for very good prices, hopefully. Okay, so again, unbank and then fees, and then culturally, we as Bahamians, we say keep the money under the mattress, right? Do we still keep the money under the mattress? Or we stop
I
that?
We can't tell you, it's being recorded, we can't tell you what we do with it.
So, okay. Yeah, don't tell me. But anyway, just so y'all will understand why people aren't buying. And of course, we know, all of us, what happened yesterday. Facebook and WhatsApp and all the messenger services were down. The day before, there was a whistleblower who made some demands, I think, and they didn't, pay attention to him, or I don't know the story. I was supposed to watch it tonight to get abreast of it, but there was a whistleblower the day before. I don't know if they complied with the demands or just ignored the person. Well, everything was shut down for hours yesterday. And normally Facebook and WhatsApp is very reliable. They go down for half an hour and they back up, but they go down for hours, right? Everybody had that experience yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, and again, they are self-regulated. So normally when things like that happen and they have now the account for it, they just said before Congress and they just apologize. Oh, we apologize and we are aware, we'll put some safeguards in place, but really governments have not figured out how to regulate this, technological world. Is possibly, I guess, no way. And so they are trying to put policy and procedure in place. And the way they are combating it in the meantime is putting stipulations in place, like you cannot open an account for them because they're not regulated. Okay, and so then you have probably Zuckerberg with an account in his own name with billions of dollars, or they had to go into cryptocurrency or what have you, because there's always a workaround. Okay, the book talks about what do people do, and they do this because of their desire. They sometimes want to see their money for convenience. Every time I don't have $5. I don't have, I never ever have cash, and that just drives me crazy. I have to go to the ATM because I need $5. And I think it is royal now. They only give $100 bill. Is that so? Or 100 or 50? Sorry?
50 and 100, they discontinue $20 bills.
The 10s and 20s, like, how is that convenient to the customer? I only need, first of all, they're not like the other banks that give you $10. That's the first thing. I only need 5. I don't have a problem with drawing 10, but I now have to get a whole $100. What is gonna happen to that $100 in my purse? Spent, right?
Well, I know.
Spent. So convenience. Okay. Let's read so we can retain some of this, because I feel like I'm talking too much and I think that y'all are asleep. So let's go. Who? Sorry?
No, the talking is good because you explained.
Okay, so but you're all awake. Okay, but again, this is discussion based. So then by now, those of us who were in the class already should have read chapter 5. Let's discuss what's happening in chapter 5. So let's look on page 48 and let's start. Who is there going to be anybody to volunteer to read for their 5%, or do I need to just select person?
I'll read.
Go ahead, Tanisha. Let's start at feedback on 48.
Okay.
Page 48.
You may have come up with a number of different reasons, but it is likely that nearly all of them could be categorized according to the following reasons: preference, desire, convenience. Let's expand these 3 concepts. Preference. Simply, some people do not wish to have a bank account, which may stem from them not trusting banks. Banks have often been considered as places for the rich. So why do people without bank account? Okay, let me go feedback. They can hold their money in the form of cash or in a building society or perhaps in some other form. Desire. This is the desire to see the color of their own money. Banknotes and coins are more real than numbers on a bank statement or an automatic teller machine display screen. Convenience. Many people like to carry cash around with them to pay their bills and do their shopping. It is a common sight to walk into your local gas showroom, for example, and see people paying their gas bills with large quantities of banknotes. They regard cash that is not required for current use as savings to be kept under the proverbial mattress and have no interest in using a bank account with checkbook, check card, etc. Go on.
Yes, please. 2.9 and 210.
Okay. It is interesting to note that building societies have been very successful in attracting individuals' holiday and general savings. What is wrong with a bank account? You may wonder, but objections include the inconvenience of having to go to a bank to obtain money, having a queue for service. Why should a bank keep money and not pay interest? Bank charges, restricted opening hours. These are traditional arguments, and the bank have endeavored to react to these complaints by extending opening hours, evenings and Saturdays, providing automatic teller machines dispensing cash over 24 hours and cutting queues, no charges for operating a current account and credit. Some banks are even paying interest on current accounts. Technology such as Barclay Connect card offering no limit spending and no need for a checkbook. It's if it's on the account, you can spend it. Switch offers identical facilities to customers of other banks and telephone banking.
Okay, and so do we see today, because like I said, this is written outdated and this is in the UK, but do we see um conveniences now being offered to clients? Do we not see the online banking? Do organizations still have the telephone banking?
Yeah, telephone banking. Well, where I work, telephone banking is implemented.
Okay, and the loans, do people still use it?
Yeah, they do. They do.
Okay, and what about the loans by phones?
Yes, ma'am. People still using that.
Okay,
Yeah, they do.
and loans by phones, because I saw I was doing an audit at one of these Canadian banks, and I saw a correspondence from the customer who basically said, listen, I need to rewrite my loan. However, you're sitting down in air conditioned and I'm on top of the roof. So if you think you could leave your air conditioned cushion seat and come down to my office and see me, I would be very, I appreciate that. Okay, so are these account officers sitting up in the air conditioner all day, and are they on the road trying to open up accounts and give a good service to their clients? Are they offering
They're
that
on the move.
convenience?
Yeah, they're on the move.
Yeah, they on the road. And then I also saw another company saying that we'll be here till 7 p.m. So we know you get off from work 5, and it's hard to come on your lunch hour and get anything done. So we'll offer extended hours to 7 p.m. to get those loans. And of course, only due to the pandemic, we stopped the Saturday banking. I do want to share with you that when I was at Wealth Management with the online banking, it was such a hit. Again, this is why it's important to have metrics and exactly know who your customers are. And the marketing department normally keeps different various information, but to know whether some demographics of your customers, like what percentage of your business is male, what percentage of your business is female, what are the age groups. And I'm saying this because we had an experience where, of course, online banking came on stream on the retail side, and it was a hit. Everybody wanted that convenience. Everybody had a smartphone. And so it was very popular. So of course, on the wealth management side, they said, hey, implement online banking right away. And so what this meant was that we turned off our fax machines, any type of printing of statements. We said we could turn off statements and do it online, and we will no longer receive handwritten notes. And so what we found is that we lost 25% of our customers, okay, when we turned on online banking and insisted that there were no more fax machines. And when we saw this mass exodus of clients, we tried to find out exactly what happened. But because we didn't have the marketing demographics, we simply did not know. And then from our closing information, management started to say, listen, when find out what's happening with these customers, why are they closing left, right, and center? And so in some instances, we had to go back. And what it was is that in order to open up an account with wealth management, the minimum balance was $250,000. And it had like 3 years up to $5,000, $6,000 per year. And so think about who has money to really sit in the bank. Is it the working class, or is this retirees, right? And so what we found that most of the people who have this type of money already retire, already live their life, or they are at a certain point. So we found that the majority of our clients were between 60 and 90 and had never used a computer and only know how to use a fax machine. And because we were still getting handwritten letters. And so we saw that online, but they closed because they said, I'm 85. I'm not going to learn to use a computer at 85. So they just closed the account and they went to institutions that allowed them to handwrite those letters or to send in letters by fax. So of course, then a lot of our clients were from generational banking. And so if grandpa closed his account, he could tell, I go in to follow him because he's transferred money to my account every now and again. So, we had to say, listen, we could bring back that fax machine. We could still accept handwritten letters, and we are not going to enforce online. If you don't want online, then you don't have to have it. Okay, because mass exodus. But like I say, that's the importance of having this data and knowing exactly who your client is. I mean, you are required to know your client under anti-money laundering laws, but your marketing department should have those demographics to say male or female, and that way you will see what products and services, it'll even help you when you put on your various promotions each week. Because if you don't have no teachers, what you giving a discount to teachers for and a half percentage off, and all as if you don't have any teachers? Or primarily you have men instead of women, so you have a breast cancer week or something to that effect.
Ms. Bullard,
Yes.
I think, okay, I know I remember seeing it. Segmentation and what is the other term?
Right. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Yeah.
Just a question.
That's in chapter 8.
Yeah, just a question. One of my learning colleagues who was on tonight, their institutions not recently, about 3 or 4 years ago, introduced where you have to have $500 to open up an account with them. I was wondering, Tanisha, is that so?
Was that man Fidelity?
Yeah.
Yeah, 500 for the regular savings.
Yeah.
Any reasoning as to why that went up that high?
Well, I usually would tell clients that, future clients that, with us, once you have a balance of 500, your monthly fee is waived. So I try to say that, it encourages you to save if you don't want your monthly fee, if you don't want a fee charge. So once you maintain that balance, then, you won't incur the $3.36 at the end of the month.
Is this an interest-bearing account?
Yes, the interest
Okay.
rate is, it's an interest-bearing account.
Okay, okay, good. Okay, yeah, and so then even on the retail side, we see, we had to establish a senior citizens line, and I know we do. Some person said, "Listen, I need my passport." I get nervous. You know, the old people say, I get nervous and pull it if I can't see that in my passport. I need my passport. And so we had gotten rid of all the passport printers, but we had to go back to IT and say, hey, bring us back one of those printers because, you know, we lose a good portion of our elderly customers. So, you know, all of that matters. So if you want to keep them, you know, they make up about 20 or 30% of your business, and it matters. And so therefore all of that adds up. So you want to ensure that you're cognizant of the demographics and you know, who what age bracket and what is the needs of your customers, especially if you offering this white glove service. Okay? Okay, good. Thank you, Tanisha. Can we have a second reader for page 50? One of the new persons talk back to me. That make Miss Bullet feel that you engaged and all of this makes sense. Any of the new persons? No, you all there? Jade, you there? No, y'all don't want this 5%?
I'm new, I'm here.
Okay, so Dorset, you wanna read on page 50 for us, please?
Page 50.
And you'll get your first 5%, and then you go to your civic organization, and that's how you get your other 5%. So you'll be halfway there.
Or you mean starting at what do you think are the advantages, blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think are the advantages of being paid via a bank account as far as the employers are concerned? Feedback. Greater security. Carrying cash is risky. Cost savings. Cash is expensive. Think of handling charges levied by the banks, securities firm charges, and making up the pay packages, labor intensive.
Yeah. So we do have some of those. I think gaming houses that they pay you in cash. Okay. At first they were only taking employee accounts, and I think the employees still can't get loans or anything like that. Is that so? Anybody at Bank of the Bahamas or anybody else at any institution? No,
I don't know, Ms. Bullet. I don't know.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't think they can get loans. They have you can work there, but for the most part, these gaming houses, they pay you in cash, and then these days of time, you know, that's very, very dangerous. Okay, and then you have 90 employees. You have 90 employees walking into your head office on a Friday to get cash. Yeah. Okay. Okay, go ahead, Dorset.
Some employers, recognizing the substantial cost savings to be obtained, have made deals with their workforce whereby the employer accepts payment by credit transfer to the bank accounting return for a one-off bonus. The government has for some time been talking to the repealing.
And this is in the UK, so you could disregard that. That's the Truck Act of the UK, so you could disregard that, and you could go down to the feedback.
Okay, feedback.
Yeah.
Just a question, Ms. Bullet. The
Yeah.
Truck Act was not in the Bahamas at one particular point relative to, I'm just asking, in regards to payment, in regards to food items? I
can't say. I can't say, but I know this book is based in the UK, and so that's That's what they are referring to here. But you have heard of it before?
Yeah, I think back in the day, I want to say this in the right context and not sound real off, but I think individuals used to get paid in actual food items and not in regards to coins. I think
in the 60s, how far back was that?
I think it goes back a while.
That sounds like some.
The truck, I think it's the Truck Act as well. The Truck Acts in 18, what year was
No, man, you're going too fast, Kendrick.
Oh.
18.
That is some slavery stuff.
Yeah, because
they are here.
Get paid in coins. They used to get paid in coins.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that I don't know back to 1800s. I'm sorry.
All right, continue.
Products. So what? Okay. So it goes on to tell us you must what are some of the benefits of a cashless pay, right? And the feedback just goes on to saying the security, less chance of being mugged. It removes the temptations. The benefits of having a bank account and the services available, and cost saving for the employer. Again, today, when you go and apply for a job, for the most part, many businesses, they want to just do an online transfer. Even when you go to get national insurance benefits, they ask you for a bank account, and they're trying to shy away from, preparing checks. Only in extreme cases where I guess a person is unbanked, then they will now prepare a check. And most, like I say, businesses, they are, the bank now has a payroll department where, I know for the government, for most part, they upload files and the money is just credited. And so there is a service being offered in terms of payroll. Okay, so Dawson, continue on with competition on page 51.
Competition.
Mhm.
We have considered this in previous chapters, but it is useful to refer to our memory. Banks are moving towards one-stop banking, which means that the customer is able to approach the bank and obtain whatever financial services are required. But as seen in recent years, when banks attempt to encroach into the field of competition, their competitors have reacted by encroaching on traditional banking areas. For example, building societies offering personal loans.
Okay, and so our building societies are a bit different. Our building societies are more so, I guess, burial societies that you find on the island. So it's a bit different from what they are speaking of in the book. But a good example is, again, these omni financial institutions, or the money services businesses offering loans. Before, if you wanted to go buy a car, it had to be financed to the bank. Now we have like an H&L Auto where they do their own financing. In some instances, they still send you into the bank. I know one furniture store still sends you into the bank, but some of them have the person in office, or they fill out the information and just forward it for convenience. Okay, so is that clear? Sorry.
Question.
Mhm.
A little young and all, but a building society, what exactly is? I mean,
Okay.
like that would have been in like a previous chapter or something.
No. What I'm saying is a building society is in chapter 1. They talk about building society. Primarily, this book is based in the UK. That's what I'm saying. We
Okay.
don't have building societies per se. What we have is a burial society that is similar, where a lot of them are still active on the outer islands. And so what it is persons come together, they give dues, and when they pass away, the burial society will pay for their funeral or pay for portions of their funeral. So that's something similar that we have in the Bahamas. You're familiar with the burial societies out on most out islands have them? You've heard of those?
I thought it was like the lodge and stuff. I didn't know.
Yeah, similar. Yeah.
I know Abaco have one in Cooperstown in the north. They have a burial society.
Yeah.
As
Yeah,
well
most,
with the,
Like they have the building. They have
trust
like
It's
a,
like, I would say it's
cooperative,
a
right?
building. It's a group.
or it's a group. I see like we'll have like a building, say, oh, that's the burial society building, blah blah blah. But like I never see like an activity. So I wasn't sure.
yeah. So they are very active. I mean, normally they
All
are
that's happening
attached.
there is cookout.
Yeah, they are attached to a lodge, but if they are not, they really only come out when somebody dies. They come out and support. Your body lays to rest in the building society, and they pay for the majority of your funeral.
Okay.
Okay, but they are collecting dues monthly or quarterly or however they have it set up. Okay.
That's all.
Okay, so 3.2 goes on to talk about the various type of competitors, and I'll just call off the ones that are relevant to the what we have here in the Bahamas, so it'll be more familiar. So for the deposit and savings services, we have insurance companies now offering accounts and mortgages and what have you. We have the post office. I just read an article, not just, but I think during the pandemic or the year before, somebody stole $600,000 from the post office, and I was thinking, do people still really keep their money in the post office? And apparently, so if somebody could run off with $600,000, right? And then you have other banks, and then other finance companies, and again, the finance companies are the Omni. I guess there's another place. It's pretty big right now. Greenleaf. Okay. Yeah, and I think they focus primarily on lending. So again, you would see the same competitors, finance companies, the post office, if they, I guess, lend loans, various other credit cards, and insurance, other brokers, insurance companies, and not we don't have the building societies, but foreign services. You have travel agents telling you that they can, put together a package, and you can pay them. Not that you have to go to the bank and get a loan and pay in full, but even like with cruise partners, they take, if you pay a certain amount by time, by a certain amount of time, they take monthly payments. Okay, so these are various businesses that are in competition with, back in the day, it used to only be a bank where you could open up a savings account or a deposit account, only a bank where you could go and get a loan. Investment services, you now have accountants, real estate, lawyers now pulling that corporate service providers arm and saying, hey, we have a fund that you can invest in, or we can do this on your behalf. Okay, so again, this is popular as well on the exams. I've seen a few times that compare and contrast the competition. Yeah, who is the competition? Okay. Any questions so far?
So there's some compare and contrast. You said you've seen this on exams, and it'll be wise to remember this. Gotcha.
Yeah. As an example, who's competing against banks, against insurance companies, against law firms?
Would it be a chart, or like where we have like a
It'll look
list?
just like that. I've seen it look just like that. That's how I remember that it's on the exam. Okay. And then it says for the future, and of course, we saw what the pandemic did to us. And if you weren't technologically savvy before the pandemic, I guess you are now. More and more services are being computerized. Everybody's moving away from the brick and mortar. Everything is online. People are still working from home. The front line is diminished completely and replaced with ATMs. When you call the various financial institutions, artificial intelligence is there no longer. Hello, this is Ms. Bullard, but press 1 for this and 2 for that. To keep abreast of the future, and I tell all my classes this, that there's a fintech hub at the Securities Commission. I would encourage all persons in the financial services industry to follow the fintech hub and learn about the various, we have a digital asset. It's not cryptocurrency, it's a digital asset. It's called the Sandola. We have our own crowdfunding platform that is facilitated by Alive. Crowdfunding is like GoFundMe. What else do we have? We do, I think we have some regulations in regards to cryptocurrency as well. I don't know if it's been satisfied. So just so you would know, when persons talk about digital assets versus digital currencies, there is a difference. So I encourage you all to subscribe to the FinTech Hub by the Securities Commission and the regulation that goes with all of this new advances in technology, debit cards, credit cards, online banking, all of this is Reg Tech. That's the regulation, okay? Any questions? No? Clear as mud? We sleep or we wake?
Ms. Bullard,
Yes.
was referencing to me this today in today's paper. I have it, but I haven't looked at it yet. Cryptocurrency is not in the Bahamas, because from my understanding, something was in the papers today.
No, cryptocurrency is everywhere in the world, right? But governments have not put in regulation. I'm not certain where we are. I know we had a team, there was a white paper, and we were in the process of formulating the regulation. The central bank has put out an announcement, and that was in 2019. I haven't seen anything since. I have to follow up, but they said invest at your own risk. So if something was to happen, then do not come to them and tell them that you lost your money. And what happened in Canada was that this very young, savvy investment banker started a blockchain. He had I think about 30 to 50 customers and about $15 million in assets. And he died. And nobody has the code. And if you know anything about cryptocurrency, there's no Kendrick minutes attached. There's a number attached, and you get these codes. And so that's why it's so risky, because it could be Kendrick minutes and Denara Strawn and then Bin Laden and then a pair. And so you don't know who you're investing with. And so that's the risk associated with cryptocurrency. And because it's coded, hackers around the world have been able to break in and steal people's codes, And so, I don't know if the law, I know they had a working group, they had proposed a law. I don't know if it's complete as yet, but people are investing in it at their own risk until the law comes in place. And cryptocurrency was actually created in the 80s by a 21-year-old boy who locked himself in the room, and he created this. It should not be regulated, because of course, once it's regulated, Uncle Sam gets his 40%. Okay, so it's kind of ironic now that governments are around the world saying that, yeah, we are going to regulate this. So we could get our 40%. So they're capitalizing on it, but it was created with the purpose of not to be, stay in the underworld. We'll make lots of money. People will take the risk. The higher the risk, the more money you make.
Miss Bullard, what are your views? What are your views on Bitcoins?
There are many. I don't have, I don't have entire detail on all these digital assets. I'm only, familiar with them. And how you are specific to Bitcoin, I would have to go and do some research. Right, all these things are in my head, and I want to speak knowledgeably to it. But again, all of them are risky. I think they are exchanges that they are trying to get KYC information to. But again, there's you don't know who you are doing, who's, who the owners are essentially, and so that's the risk involved. So of course you'll have like the high risk, the PEPs, the unbanked, the undesirable people who can't get into the financial system any other way using these various digital assets.
Okay.
Okay, but I don't have any specific information itself on Bitcoin. I only know from the risk aspect. But if you want to make some money and you're afraid to take the risk, then yeah, of course, that's, it's very volatile. You could make some money, but you can also lose. And then you could end up like these people who invested in this guy who was a good investment bank and made them loads of money. However, he died. Nobody knows the code. So where's this $50 million in the cloud somewhere? Nobody knows how to access it.
Wow.
They approached the Canadian government, and the Canadian government said the laws are not in place. We told you all to invest at your own risk. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's what you're faced with. Okay?
Okay.
Okay,
Question.
good.
Sandola.
Uh-huh.
That's, I don't understand. I understand it, but I don't understand it. Is Sandola regulated by central bank?
Yes, it is, and it's regulated by the DARE bill. And again, the Sandola is the Bahamian digital asset. It's not cryptocurrency, so the risks
because if
are
it's
not
regulated by a government, then it ain't crypto. Got you.
Sorry?
If it's regulated, then it's not crypto.
Yeah, and it's manned by the Securities Commission. And again, it was one of the initiatives that the governor of the central bank put in place because we were in the process of updating our risk rating, and we don't want our country to be high risk because a lot of countries and businesses don't do business with high risk countries. And so therefore, for us to be less cash intensive, he created a digital asset. And so I encourage all of you, like I said, follow the FinTech Hub. And so you familiarize yourself with it and you will start to use it because essentially it's for the betterment of our country. Okay, and he has strategically placed it through the money services businesses, the Cash and Goes, the Omni, the Western Union, so that they are not seen as cash intensive. So if we could get everybody to do away with the cash and just use this Sandola, that would be for the betterment of our country. Okay? Okay, good. All right. Denise, do you want to read page 82?
Why do banks need?
Thank you, Dorset.
Why do banks need to market these services? Banks offer a wide range of financial services to personal and business customers. Some of these services, such as bank accounts, are needed by a large number of customers, but many other financial services, such as insurance, import or export services, and factoring, have to be brought to the attention of potential users, who must then be persuaded to use them. Not all services are aimed at every customer, and many have a target slice of the market. Many many services offered by banks are also offered by rival organizations. Building societies have developed customers accounts which are similar in many ways to a bank account. And they not only offer mortgages, but also some personal loans. Insurance companies offer pension schemes and life assurances. Accountings businesses give business advice. Solicitors act as executors and trustees, and so on. Banks have to compete with other types of organizations, not just with each other in the marketplace. To win business, banks and other branches must adopt a positive marketing approach. To do this successfully, bankers need an understanding of the process of marketing, marketing segmentation, target markets and need of different types of customers, branch marketing programs, what similar services competitors are offering. Individuals in the marketing process need not only productive knowledge, but also a wide range of interpersonal skills. Marketing. There are four philosophies of marketing, which at some time or another have been held by the managers of commercial organizations. These are the product concept, the product con, these are the product, the production
Production.
concept, sorry, the production concept, the product concept, the selling concept, and the marketing concept. In the text of banking, they might be described as the following. The production concept. Managers assume that customers will buy the service that a bank offers to them, provided that they are accessible and affordable. According to this approach, banks should therefore develop services they not only consider useful at an affordable price, they will easily sell them. The product concept. Consumers will buy those services that offer the best quality and value for the price. According to this approach, a bank should therefore direct its effort at improving their quality of service, and by doing so, customers will buy them. The selling concept. Banks assume that customers will not buy this or will not buy enough of them unless a positive effort is made by the bank to sell them. The production and product concepts are based on the view that customers will buy if the product or service is available, or if the right quality or of the right quality. The selling concept, in contrast, suggests that a bank shouldn't develop its services, but then go out and sell them hard. For banks, this concept implies the need not only for advertising and other sales promotion activities, but also the aggressive selling or active persuasive selling of services by branch staff. The selling concept doesn't properly consider whether customers really want the service in the first place. It is concerned with selling them to anyone who can be persuaded to buy them. The marketing concept. This is a concept which has been developed since 1950s and which is now regarded as the correct philosophy for long-term commercial success. Banks concept that their task is to find out the need and want of target market and to adapt their organization and products or service to satisfy those needs and wants more effectively and efficiently than competitors. The task of persuading customers to buy these services that the bank is offering will therefore be much easier.
Okay, great. Thank you, Denise. Kendrick, this is your part. You want to continue for us? Marketing financial services 2.5.
Okay. Marketing financial services, 2.5. The banks have become much more aware of the need to market their range of financial services to customers. Excuse me. Two well-used terms. Sorry, I'm adjusting my glasses. Segmentation, dividing customers into groups or categories such as retired people, students, wealthy individuals, high-earning young professionals, yuppies, and developing products or services for a particular market segment. Penetration, succeeding in selling a specific developed service to a substantial proportion of a market segment at which it has been aimed. Banks have made enormous progress in developing a marketing approach to banking, with staff much more aware of the need to market their bank services more effectively. This means, amongst other things, that bankers must be aware of segmentation and of the particular needs and wants of the individual types of customers.
Continue.
Marketing by banks differs in certain respects from marketing by other organizations. The banker is a person on whom a customer usually relies for advice that he can trust. In other words, there is a fiduciary relationship between banker and his customer. The banker must be careful to maintain the trust of the customer, and so he should consider the customer's wider interests and not just try too hard, try too hard.
A hard sell.
Hard sell, sorry.
Mhm.
Banking services to the customer, whether or not they are needed.
Okay, so let me just give you a example of hard sell. There is I don't know if any of you watch Dirty Money on Netflix. There is, sorry?
Wells Fargo, ma'am?
No, not the Wells Fargo one, but there is a race car driver who he was very successful in the race car driving industry, and he wanted to invest his money somewhere. And so he invested his money into a payday service business and loan services. And so what they did was, if you went in and you said, I'm getting paid Friday, and they confirm your check and you want to borrow $500, they loan you the $500, and they didn't. You had the option of paying it back in full, or you had the option of paying it, monthly. So if you selected the monthly payment, they automatically loan you another $500, and then another $500, and another $500, and so many persons ended up having, and then they gave you a separate payment. So the first $500, you would be paying $50. The second one is $100, then $200, and so on and so on. And so, a lot of persons started to complain and call, I guess, consumer relations and stuff like that, and say, listen, I didn't agree for this second or third or fourth loan, and it was found that their processes were negligent. Their fine print did not explain, or they did not properly explain to most uneducated persons that what would happen, if they checked some box or something like that. And so, they were taken to court and all their assets were removed, and they was on, the whole series was there. They was trying to explain themselves, but it was found that they did not act in good faith towards the customers, because they did not give them the relevant information to say, if you keep borrowing $500 a week, your payment is going to increase. You eventually not have any salary at all. But again, fees and whatever have you was tied to the lending. And so, they put in this automatic thing that took all the people's money. Okay. Okay, continue on. Or have you all ever been to one of those, what do you call those places in Orlando?
Timeshares?
Oh God, yes. You all ever been to a timeshare meeting for the free lunch? You will cook them a meal and give them a steak and say, never again. You all ever been?
No, ma'am.
Okay, none of y'all, y'all don't go. Y'all don't go.
ma'am.
That's another scheme. They just give you a free lunch and say, please come to this meeting, and they try and sell you. And if you deny it, then somebody else comes and talk to you. Like 10 people will come and talk to you before they let you go. But you had a nice free lunch, so, and then they also give you a discount to stay at the resort. So you get, familiar with it. And they put you in like, like VIP suites and stuff like that for $199 per week. So they really hard sell to try and get you to buy. Okay, go ahead, continue on, Kendra.
B, the banker should consider the long-term relationship with the customer, not just an immediate sale. For example, what is the value of persuading a new customer to open up a credit card account if the customer does not really want one? The customer's trust in the bank will be undermined, and the short-term gain to the bank from the income generated by a new account may be won at the expense of the greater income lost in the longer term. The customer may find another financial advisor whom he trusts more because he tailors his advice more carefully to the customer's need. 2A, customers. Customers are the reason for any business existing, since without customers to sell to, a business cannot operate. Meeting the needs of those customers more effectively than competitors. Do this, excuse me. I gotta keep adjusting in my light. Customers are the reason for any business's existence, since without customers to sell to, a business cannot operate. Meeting the needs of those customers more effectively than competitors. Do is the key to continue profitability existence for any business. It is important that each customer who deals with an organization is left with a feeling of satisfaction. This outcome is important since it can lead to increased sales and or willingness to pay higher prices and thus a higher profit. If customers are more satisfied, they may A, buy again from the same supplier, B, buy more of the same item or more expensive items, C, advise their friends to buy from the supplier. Anyone who buys takes a risk. Everyone likes to get value for their money. The risk is buying a new product or buying from a new supplier increases the risk of dissatisfaction. It is important that the supplier helps to reduce this risk for a new customer so that they are more likely to become a regular customer. Loyal customers will support the supplier when times are bad or times are hard, and it will be difficult for competitors to attract them away from their favorite supplier. Regular customers provide reliable income and turnover. In addition, it is possible to build rapport with a customer over time, which helps the supplier understand their needs more easily, thus making the sales process more straightforward. 212.
Thank you so much, Kendrick. You want to continue?
I have an optometrist appointment in 2 weeks, so I have to change my glasses.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much for that, Renita. Continue for us at 2.12, please. Are you settled now? Is Renita there?
I can continue.
Go ahead, Omara. Thank you.
Customer loyalty is also a source of goodwill. Will enhance the supplier organization's image and can be a source of very potent advertising in that they may recommend a supplier to their friends or colleagues. Indeed, we as shall see later in the core bank markets, the strategy of building loyalty among existing customers is becoming increasingly important as the banks recognize the difficulties associated with strategies to expand market share and attract new customers. Customer dissatisfaction is the reverse of customer loyalty, in that it may dissipate established goodwill and can adversely affect the company image. The added complication is that bad news travels faster than good news. It is easier by far to put off with a negative recommendation than it is to attract new customers with positive recommendations. Thus, a good marketing maximus, try to build long-term relationships with your customers. The maximus applies particularly with banking services. The bank referred to above is opponent force in influencing customers in their choice of banking, services, supplies, and concepts of trust and confidence are very important.
Okay,
Corporate
so 1 second, Omar. So is it true today that the bad news goes viral faster than the good news? Is that true? Is that still relevant today?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Why? Is that because we just like the gossip and we like, why is that?
Because people tend to, they're not gonna say, like we discussed earlier, they're not gonna complain to most people at their face. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna complain when they get amongst their friends and their family and their online friends.
Okay, okay, so that's what makes it go viral. So I don't know, but I see that a lot of celebrities are using that to their advantage. Though they're about to drop a record, and so all sorts of drama come out the day before, right? Will we start to see companies doing stuff like that? I saw it in the political realm. I saw it in the campaigning. I saw it at when they wanted to keep trending, they said ridiculous things that people would make into memes. Did y'all see that during the political seasons?
Yes, ma'am.
And they sure use that to their advantage. So a company is now going to start creating, I guess, negative media or instances just so we could get our name out there. Will that bring in more business? Is that something that the marketing department is using? Because I was told by a gentleman who does the Super Bowl ads. I don't know if any of you know that all of the big marketing ads come out on Super Bowl Sunday during the Super Bowl. Are we familiar with that?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
I think
Yeah.
they're a
Oh,
million to 30
yeah.
seconds.
Yeah, and so some of those, I mean, most of them, I think are minimum $1 million for those ads. So marketing professionals work an entire year trying to come up with a jingle, come up with something that would keep trending, that would make, the company visible. And so I spoke to somebody who worked with Super Bowl ads, and he simply said, I don't know if I spoke to him, I perhaps listened to a speech that he gave. And what he said is, the marketing department has changed dramatically. He said he would encourage young persons who are interested in a marketing career to go and take up, would you believe it? Psychology. He said you cannot get the top position in marketing with a marketing degree. You have to take up psychology. And that's who they hire for Super Bowl as a psychologist to tell them which commercial makes either could generate some negative media or make the person feel good. And so that's what they're looking for. So all these Super Bowl ads, and the one that gets the top or becomes a top ad during the Super Bowl, based on feeling. Okay, and that in the marketing department, that psychologist holds that position. Okay, so if you're interested in marketing, don't think you need to go and get a marketing degree, because people apparently from the statistics and the trends that they have is based on what makes you feel good or what will create some negative media. Okay, just thought I would throw that in. Okay, so Omara, go over to page 87 and we will end with this. You can read the rest of the time, but this is the basis of your project right here, the 5 P's of the marketing mix. And if you go online, you'll see that there are 8 P's, some people have 6 P's, but for the purpose of this class, we're going with the book, the 5 P's. And then we will take questions and end there.
You said to read the marketing mix?
Yes, on page 87.
Okay, the 5 P's. The ingredients of marketing, the marketing mix, are popularly known as the 4 P's: product, place, promotion, and price. To these must be added personal, as in a service industry, people are a vital component of the mix. 3.2a, product or service is concerned with the features and quality of buying products and services, and any options available to the customer. Product features in bank lending, for example, would include the term of loans, variable or fixed interest rates, and the option to switch from variable to fixed rates or vice versa. The product features in interest-bearing accounts would include the provision of a checkbook, notice required for withdrawal, and conditions for opening an account, such as regular savings or minimum investment. B, place is concerned with where the product or service is made available to the customer or how the customer can obtain the service. In banking, the existence of a branch network and an ATM network are aspects of place, and so too are I, the widespread acceptance of credit cards by shops, hotels, restaurants, etc. The ability of customers to obtain personal loans by written application to their bank without the need for a personal interview. The development of telephone banking and banking on the internet. The term distribution system is also used to describe this aspect of the marketing mix. C, promotion is concerned with advertising, direct selling, and other forms of sales promotion. D, price. In banking, refers to interest rates offered to depositors and borrowers, and bank charges and commissions for individual services. E, personal or person refers
Personnel.
to, oh, sorry about that, my bad. Personal or person refers to any individuals who have contact with the customer.
Okay, so that's your staff. Okay, so that's the marketing mix. And of course, you're gonna see that on the exam. And of course, that's the basis of your paper. And so what you wanna do when you talk about these institutions, you wanna answer like the 5 P's. What are the products that they sell? Where they located, the place, how many branches they have, what do they do for promotion, what types of prices and interest rates compared to their competitors, and their personnel, are their staff. And again, you get that information from your surveys, finding out, are we pleased with the customer service at the Commonwealth Bank or the Royal Bank or what have you. So basically you would answer those, you would include that in your project and provide answers based on the institutions that you selected. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, ma'am. But I have a question, Ms. Bullitt.
Yeah.
Our survey questions are aimed at the customer, or it can be aimed at the employees too?
Both.
Or you can incorporate.
Yeah, you can incorporate all. You could incorporate all. But there are 4. You are trying to determine whether the customers are satisfied with the service, right, and the staff, and if the staff are knowledgeable.
So, okay, so our survey can be answered by staff and customers.
No. You want from the customer aspect.
Right.
Are they, you will ask, when you walk into the Royal Bank of Canada, you stand on the line the entire lunch hour, you get to the teller, you ask, what is the promotion of the month? Do they know, or do they tell you, oh, you have to go over to the credit department and they'll give you the information? Now, the entire bank is responsible for sales, and each department has a sales target. Like they will say, this month we doing credit cards, so try to sell as much credit cards. So that teller should not be sending you over to the credit department. This day, aspect of their job. I mean, this was in the Canadian banks, was to, for sales. So one of the questions you would ask in the survey, this is the customer, are the staff, in your view, knowledgeable of the products and services that the bank offers?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, like Coldbrook talked about $500 to open an account. Suppose I stand on the line, I say, hey, I'm gonna open up an account for my daughter. How much I need to open the account with? Do you think, does everybody know it's the minimum requirement is $500 Coldbrook?
I don't think so. No,
Like I walking up in there with my $10, and when you turn me away, I go, because some people it's still $10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I walking up in there and with my $10 in there, you turn me away. And I even need to see the manager.
Oh,
right?
Lord.
Okay.
Like that.
So make sure they don't, you get to the teller, I already queue in line, wait 45 minutes to get served. She said, yes, go right over to Coldbrook. I wait for 1 hour to see Coldbrook to open this account to be told $10 insufficient. No. Okay, service. Okay, so let's make sure that our staff are trained, they are aware, and or they have easy access. Because again, all these things won't be in your head, but there should be a drive, there should be an internet or intranet where you could just click on and say, our promotion for the month is A, B, or C. This is what it's the minimum requirements and blah, blah, blah. Right? You shouldn't have to wait on 10 lines or be told, I don't know, or I really don't be paying attention. Right? You should know how many branches there are. You should know where the ATMs are located. You should know the vision, the motto, and the goals. These are pertinent information that all staff members should know. Okay?
Yes,
Or else we show up to work with our own agenda and we come to carry out the vision and mission of Bullet and Co. rather than the Royal Bank of Canada and Scotiabank or First Caribbean. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Any other questions or concerns? Okay, so next week we'll do chapter 9 and I will send out a review sheet, but the persons who did not speak this evening with your names next to it, and so the expectation is next class for review, it will talk about the marketing mix. And so Jade, if you see your name, or Danya, if you see your name, we expect an overview of the marketing mix. Or if you see customer service or competitors, okay? And that's how the review class is gonna work. Persons are gonna give a contribution. I already have the persons who read tonight and who successfully have their 5%. That's Denise, Kendrick, Dorset, and Omara. So thank you guys for reading and participating and getting their points across.
You didn't call my name.
And Coldbrook, of course. Of course, Coldbrook. Let me put you, I don't know how I miss you. I write you down right now.
So it's only reading?
Sorry?
It was only reading? It was only reading? Not
What do you mean?
participating? I don't ask. You said reading and participating.
But I called your name to read, Renita. You didn't respond. I don't think you may have stepped away. So
Yeah,
I'll make sure that you have
the first.
Right. I can make sure you have a question and answer next week. No, but these persons would have participated already, and we are halfway through. So I'm just saying that they have satisfied their requirement. Is Dorset and Omara only been here 2 weeks, and they participated and they read. Okay, so very, very good, Dorset and Omara. Great additions to the class. Okay, so please
Appreciate
ensure that you when I call you out, let you know, participate, read, and engage in the discussion. Okay, or else we'll fall asleep. We don't want to have Ms. Bullet talk for 3 hours and we don't want to read for 3 hours. Okay, so we try to mix it up so it can remain engaging. It can be just as engaging as we all put together and get involved and make it, you know, bearable. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So, Tanisha, I think I do bad today, but I can make up next week. So, y'all
Yeah.
have a fabulous. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody has the foundation for their projects. And I want you to get in your groups and please make sure that you don't let the time run up on you and that you get 6 weeks of the required information.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments or concerns? No? Okay, so
Question.
go ahead with the question.
If any additional information is needed about the project, we could always email you, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. Okay,
Yeah.
so I hope you all have very light weeks and great days and productive weeks. Okay, and we'll do this again next week.
That's fine.
Okay, take care. Have a good evening.
You too.
Good
Okay.
evening, all.
Good evening.